Hello, I'm Nisha Pillai in London, right in the heart of London, on the banks of the River Thames with St Paul's Cathedral, that iconic image right behind me. And only 5 kilometres from St Paul's is Tower Hamlets, the heart of the British Bangladeshi community. Some people reckon there are up to 300,000 Bangladeshis living here in Britain, and they're closely linked to the mother country, sending back remittances regularly, which the government reckons amounts to perhaps 10% of Bangladesh's GDP. Well, as you can see with me here, I have a large audience of Bangladeshis, British Bangladeshis, all born and bred here. And I'm also delighted to welcome Baroness Pola Uddin, the first Bangladeshi to be appointed to the British House of Lords, the upper house in the British Houses of Parliament. And I'm also delighted to welcome Mahfouz Anam, the editor and publisher of the Daily Star newspaper, Bangladesh's leading English language newspaper. Well, more from us very shortly, but first let's kick off in Dhaka with Steve. We're following the debate closely, Steve, and I can assure you, and the next question is not going to come from a journalist, in other words, not from me, but from a member of the audience. Tell us who you are and what you think about how democracy is functioning in Bangladesh.
My name is Badrul Islam, and I'm a law student here in London. This political scoring between the two parties, it's really irrelevant. No party has a moral high ground, and the Minister mentioned that procedurally democracy exists within a constitutional settlement, but substantially, in terms of substantive notice, democracy cannot exist without a commitment to rule of law, and that means...
And do you think that commitment is not there?
That commitment is not there. I'm talking about every public level. I'm from a region in Sylhet, from personal experience, I know the state forces are corrupt, I know the judiciary is corrupt, the people who are supposed to be enforcing the law are corrupt, and it becomes almost like an auction match when you go into a civil libel case or even a criminal case.
Badrul, thanks so much. I'm going to get some reaction now from Baroness Uddin. How can democracy function when the rule of law breaks down, Baroness Uddin?
I think it makes it very, very difficult. All of us here are very deeply committed, not only to Britain, but also to the development of Bangladesh as a democratic country. And we appreciate the fact that, 3 government has taken part in full and fair election as far as it was possible under the circumstances. I think that in order to ensure that corruption is dealt with as a forefront of the government issue, it is very, very difficult to simply dismiss it saying no one party can take a moral high ground, because it must be the existing government that takes a leading in dealing with corruption. I was deeply disappointed with the response from Barrister Huda in the way that he proposed that, for instance, the Anti-Corruption Commission can't function simply because they're dealing with too many questions.
Briefly, is he taking it seriously enough, do you think?
Well, I know some of his work, but from the impression that he's created before the audience today, I think that you would say that not.
Thanks so much. Mahfouz Anam from the Daily Star. Is corruption being taken seriously enough across the political class?
Not at all. In fact, governments after governments have taken the corruption issue and always said, oh, this is being misconstrued, and, what is the sample, what is the methodology. But yet, suppose we are not corrupt country number 1. Number 2, 3, 4 or 15, there is substantial corruption. We see it every day. And I must say that none of the governments, and the present government included, has taken it at all seriously. There has not been a single instance of, if you like, a businessman or a politician or a bureaucrat or a journalist or anybody taken to task for corruption. The only people who are taken to task for corruption are the opposition. And it varies. Whichever ruling party comes, the next party is taken to task for it. The serious issue is that in Bangladesh, we have a winner-take-all mentality. So when a political party wins, they feel that now they have a right to govern the country for the next 5 years in every way they seem fit. And unfortunately, the way they see it fit is that the mandate of the people is to be used for their party or for their personal gain.
Mahfouz Anam, I think that demands a response from Dhaka, a damning indictment, I would say. Stephen, so much. Well, I've got an audience of young British Bangladeshis, including 21-year-old Monjur Ahmed, who went back to Bangladesh for the very first time and allowed us to accompany him. Let's see a short clip of the film we made of his journey. Monju, clearly you were very impressed with that madrasa, and it plays a part in helping especially young, poor Bangladeshis getting some kind of education. But do you think a religion-based education equips Bangladesh as a whole to face its future in the world?
I think with a lot of the madrasas, like I said, they're readily available to a lot of people who have not got the financial backing. And from the madrasa that I saw, I was really impressed because I thought maybe it'd be predominantly an Islamic education. But the guy, he was talking to me in good English, which surprised me. And what he didn't see also was he had aspirations to go to Dhaka University and things like that. So I think institutions like that are actually good for Bangladesh because they're giving people an opportunity, no matter what their background is, to get into education and also have an Islamic background as well.
Briefly, did you expect what you saw?
No, not at all. Not at all, because I was expecting to see very religious people who couldn't speak English at all, and what I saw was young children whose English was just as good as some people that I've seen here.
Really interesting, Monjur. Let me tell you that that big survey that the BBC commissioned on the state of Bangladesh, well, it says that 97% of Bangladeshis find that religion is really important to them. So let's explore that a little further. I'm going to ask an audience member, do you think that religion plays a part in the political system as well? And if so, what part?
Hi, my name is Shabir. I'm a SOAS student doing my master's there. I think given that Bangladesh is the third or second most populated Muslim country in the world, it definitely means that the people of Bangladesh do feel that religion does play an important part in their lives. One, because of the faith. Two, if you look at the history, the heritage, the culture, people are deeply attached. And what Monjo just said, it's very much, I would agree with, because people want to have a sort of attachment to their faith, but at the same time, they want that to be used in a modern, democratic way to further the country in its development sort of like path. And I think the way, I'm quite incensed by the way some of the media portrayal of Islam, the role of Islamic parties, is, I think, deeply biased, because I think if you look at the aspirations of the people and how people are feeling towards their faith and the way it's portrayed is actually two different things.
I'm going to put that to the editor of the Daily Star, who's with us right now, Mahfouz Anam. We've just heard that Islam should be part of the democratic system. And what role does political Islam have in the future of the democratic process?
If you see the voting trends, the Islamic parties have never got more than 5, 6, 7% of the vote. And the democratic parties have been essentially very representative of the Islamic sentiments of the people. So I don't think that there is anything new to discover. Bengali Muslims are proud Muslims and proud Bengalis, but we want democracy, we want to modernize, we want a scientific, prosperous, industrial, agricultural country where religion will be very much a part of our lives, but the politics will be based on the needs of the people.
Baroness Uddin, despite what Mahfouz Anam was saying, there is a debate about how secular Bangladeshi politics should be and the role of Islam, political Islam. What are your views?
But I think I agree with what he's just said totally. And my experience as I was growing up in Bangladesh and about it now is exactly that. And I think that the SOAS student put it very beautifully, that I think it is a second largest Muslim country and that it has right to embrace Islam because the issue of Islam is now very global in the context that it's being discussed, and democratic process must take account of that. But Bangladesh has been very, very careful throughout all its democratic process and all its democratic history that to ensure that Islam as religion doesn't overtake the context of democracy.
Thanks, Baroness Uddin. So rare agreement, really, on this issue of the role of Islam, political Islam, in the body politic. Over to you.